Tonight, well, it's been described by many as a miracle. We gave you the first alert on 26-year-old Chris Gilbert, who was allegedly pushed into a lake by one of his friends.
It's one black kid and a group of white kids that's his friends, and one of them pushed him into the water.
Okay, so many of you guys may have heard about Christopher Gilbert, the young 26-year-old med student from Farmerville, Louisiana, that was allegedly pushed into the lake by his so-called friend Cassidy Holland, okay, that knew this young man, Christopher, could not swim or couldn't swim well, right? Now, the part that's troubling for me is not only that they pushed him in this water, their rationale of this whole situation is that they were just playing. It was horseplay. It was not serious. It was not, anything that was intending to hurt him, right? Or cause him any harm, right? All of that, okay, things happen. Sometimes we play a little too much. Things go a little too far. Blah, 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 blah. The part that is troubling for me is that you guys pushed him in this water and left him in the water for over 20 minutes, okay? You will see on the video that was captured by onlookers or so have you, you will see the friends. They are casually sitting around. They are peering into the water, but there's no real need or you don't see a great deal of care. Okay, you don't see a concern that there's someone in this water, someone that you know he's there. He's drowning. He's losing his life, literally 20 minutes or better. Had it not been for someone patronizing a nearby restaurant and deeming it necessary to save and preserve this young man's life, only God knows what would have happened, what this outcome would have been, okay, for this young man. And so we just want to thank this hero that jumped into action and ran to save this young man's life, because apparently his friends did not care enough to do much of anything, if anything at all, right? But now this young man has made a significant recovery, and he's got a lot to say about this matter. We are going to jump back into the video, but first I'd like to ask you guys to consider subscribing to this channel. If you find this content interesting, I'd like to ask you to hit that like button, please and thank you. Now, let's go ahead and jump back in.
At a Lake Darbon, with friends, and joining me this morning is the family, Christopher Gilbert's mom, along with the family attorney. Let's talk about Chris. What happened? When did you get the call?
I got the call possibly around 8 on April 14th on a Sunday.
Tell us what you learned. Did he fall into the lake? Was he pushed into the lake?
So initially, as the mother reported, we initially thought that he fell in the lake. That was what the friend group initially reported to officers.
In that moment, my son is aspiring to be a medical doctor. My son is, going to be a medical doctor.
He has a master's degree?
He got his master's last year in biological science.
Mm-hmm.
And he's preparing for medical school, so for this to happen to him, and just, my son is so sweet, this most selfless being you'll ever meet, and for that to happen to him, I was just devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is it that you are fighting for now?
I want the young lady who pushed my son, who admitted to me in the family waiting area that night at the hospital, because their friend group came to the hospital, still telling me the same fabricated story that he fell. I learned at that moment in the ER, the sheriff called me and he told me, "Are you familiar with what happened?" "Yeah, he was at the lake and he fell." He was like, "No, one of the young ladies pushed him." And I'm like, "Who pushed him?" And I started looking around the room, "Which one of y'all pushed him?" Mm-hmm. The young lady, "I did." And I was like, "Why would you push my son in the lake knowing he couldn't swim?" She said, "Well, ma'am, I didn't know that man couldn't swim." And I was like, "Who is that man? This is supposed to be amongst groups of friends, right? Who is that man?" "Chris. Everybody knows he can't swim."
Okay, so I believe what the mother is saying, she's feeling, or either she's saying that she know this young lady, Cassidy, knew her son couldn't swim. And she's saying basically everyone in his immediate orbit knew her son could not swim. And for those reasons, along with the lies that they've told and the fact that no one, really deemed it necessary or urgent enough for them to even jump in and try to save her son. And for those reasons, and those are enough reasons, right? Maybe there's more to this story than what's being told. And I would possibly agree. It just doesn't sound right to me. And I know just because something doesn't sound right to me certainly doesn't make it right or wrong, but it is what it is. And I just can't shake the fact of looking at the laxness, the sense that there's nothing important happening, right? There's no need for any urgency aside for the fact that someone is losing their life. Someone is literally drowning right, in front of you guys' eyes, right? And no one deemed it important enough to jump in. So for those reasons, I do find it a little sketchy, right? And I don't know, you guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think. But there is a very much new update about this story.
I want to thank everybody for their support and all the prayers and everybody getting back to me. And as far as anything racially motivated, that's completely false. I don't really trios arrested anything wrong. I really don't think anyone did anything intentionally. I knew it was going to happen and kind of thought maybe the water wouldn't be as deep. I would kind of hit the ground, get my footing up and come back up and grab the pier and just kind of stand up there. So, and then the water ended up being deeper than we thought. It ended up being a lot colder than we thought. Relief, I felt. I was very emotional because it's been 3 weeks since I've seen any of them. We're a pretty tight-knit group.
So this is so sad and unfortunate on so many different levels. I do understand what forgiveness is all about. It's for you, the person. It has nothing to do with anyone else. But I'm not sure that these people even ask you for your forgiveness. Not at all. If you listen, you can hear him almost blaming himself. And for what? I'm not sure. For not being able to swim, for joking with this young lady named Cassidy. I'm not sure. You hear him saying how he's now relieved that he can be back in the presence of these people, this group of so-called friends, how he was emotional during their time of separation. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, I'm not sure if he wants so badly to be accepted by this particular group of people that he's willing to risk his life for it. Okay, I'm not sure if he doesn't, like himself or love himself, or maybe if he really does have some form or degree of brain damage. I'm just not sure. But he has spoken and said this was not done intentionally and it had nothing to do with race. The lawsuit and the lawyers that his mother and family hired are dismissed. And now he has a more aesthetically pleasing attorney, I believe anyway, for his taste, right? I just want to say, parents, please teach your children to love themselves, no matter how much education, money, what social groups they're affiliated with. None of those things will ever compensate you for loving yourself. Please teach them to love themselves all of themselves. And if it's something you don't like about yourself, you can change that. But the essence, the very essence of who you are, love it, embrace it, enjoy it. I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this content, go ahead and hit the like button. And while you're at it, consider subscribing to this channel. And until next time, keep it peaceful.